Mari Santiago's broom whispered against the polished marble hallway just before first bell. Dawn light slanted through arched windows, illuminating motes of dust dancing in the silent corridors of Crestwood Academy. As the Academy's janitor, Mari took pride in every gleaming tile and every unblemished stair riser. Her uniform, simple navy slacks and a pale gray polo, was spotless, every fold crisp. The tiled floor reflected her steady footsteps as she moved toward the trophy case, where the founder's portrait watched over the hall with quiet dignity. In that early hush, Mari allowed herself a moment of calm. The world, she believed, would be brighter if she kept it clean. Footsteps echoed behind her, click-click of designer heels. Talia Chin swept past, impeccably dressed in a tailored blazer and pleated plaid skirt. Her entourage, 2 giggling prefects, hovered at her elbow. Talia carried an iced latte in one hand, smartphone in the other. Without looking, she brushed Mari's elbow, spilling cold foam across the floor. Seconds later, the latte tipped, its caramel-hued liquid sloshing onto Mari's beloved tote bag, an ironic relic from Mari's childhood best friend, long gone. The purse's leather soaked in swirling coffee rings as Mari stumbled back, heart pounding. "Watch where you're going, will you?" Talia snapped, voice rising. She tugged on Mari's sleeve and peered at the stain. "This is brand new. My mom bought it for me." She flicked her long nails, sending droplets onto the polished wood of the trophy case. The prefects laughed, eyes shining with amusement. One raised her phone, ready to record the fallout. Mari's cheeks burned. She bowed her head, fumbling for her rag. "I'm so sorry, Miss Chun. I'll clean it right away." Her voice was soft, barely above a whisper, but she forced a steady calm. Talia leaned in close, smelling faint lemon polish on Mari's uniform. "Sorry doesn't fix designer," she said, stepping back to let the prefect join in. Together, they circled Mari, as if she were an exhibit to be mocked. "She thinks she's one of us." Talia laughed. "Mixing with real students? Get lost, janitor." The prefects clapped, their juvenile applause echoing down the hall. Mari bit her lip, refusing to meet their eyes. She knelt immediately, dabbing at the spill, pushing hard on the rag, but the stain only spread. She tasted bile at the back of her throat. A janitorial colleague rounded the corner at last, Jade, Mari's only friend in the basement workshops. Jade knelt beside her, sliding an arm around Mari's shoulders. "Let go, Mari. You can't win their approval." Her whisper was fierce with loyalty. Mari nodded, blinking back tears. Talia turned, swishing away with her posse, voices rising as they retreated. The hallway fell still again but for the drip of spilled latte into an expanding puddle. Mari stood, pulling Jade to her feet. She wiped her cheek. "They don't know who I am," she murmured, straightening. Somewhere, behind the founder's portrait, the old headmistress's eyes seemed to flash with expectation. Mari took a deep breath and raised her chin. The stain on the trophy case would clean, and her heart, unbeknownst to anyone, carried secrets more potent than any latte. As she resumed her sweeping, the corners of her mind sparked with the knowledge that this humiliation would be the ignition point of something far greater than a spilled drink. It was mid-morning when Talia Chun decided to stage her next humiliation. Mari was hard at work in classroom 3B, mopping behind rows of unmarked desks. The chalkboard still held skeletal outlines from the previous chemistry lecture, atomic symbols and half-erased equations waiting for a new lesson. Mari methodically rinsed her mop in the wringer bucket, humming a tune from her childhood in Havana. She paused, listening to the distant clack of heels. Talia swept in, every inch the picture of entitlement. She stood at the doorframe, crossed her arms, and watched Mari work. "You know, janitor," Talia drawled, voice laced with condescension. "You'd think you'd learn not to get in my way." She clicked her tongue. "This is a prestigious academy, not a barn." Mari froze, mop suspended in midair. She swallowed, hoping Talia would leave. But Talia only smiled, eyes gleaming. "Think of it as public service," Mari managed, voice firm but polite, "keeping floors clean so students don't slip." She resumed her mopping, determined to ignore her tormentor. Talia approached, swiping the mop handle from Mari's hands. The wet end swept across the pristine desk row, snapping chalk holders from their racks. "Oops," Talia said, feigning innocence. Mari's heart lurched as she watched her work ruined. "Give that back," Mari whispered. Talia raised an eyebrow. "Or what? You'll report me." She tossed the mop aside, splashing water onto the chalkboard. White streaks blossomed in wet arcs. "Go ahead," Mari said, stepping forward. "You've already staged half the staff to hate me." The prefect machine stoked itself. 2 girls materialized, phones out, ready to document the confrontation. Talia sauntered closer, voice low. "You don't belong here. Remember that." She raised her hand and slapped Mari across the face, surprising everyone with the sound's sharp crack. Mari's cheek burned with the red proof. She staggered backward, blinking through fresh tears. Silence thundered in the room. The prefects lowered their phones, stunned. Mari steadied herself, pressing a palm to her cheek. Dignity was a fragile armor, cracked now. Talia turned on her heel, tossing a parting shot. "Stay in your lane, Janitor." The clique drifted out, giggles muted, leaving Mari cradling her wounded cheek. The mop lay abandoned in a puddle. Seconds later, Jade burst in, face pale. "Mari, are you okay?" She rushed forward and helped Mari settle on a desk chair. Mari nodded, willing herself to breathe. Blood pounded in her temples. The boldness of Talia's slap echoed in her mind, louder than any classroom chatter. "I'm fine," she said, "but this time I won't ignore it." Jade's eyes brimmed with relief and pride. "Good. You shouldn't." Outside, voices gathered. Students whispered about the chaos, drawn by curiosity. Mari stood, steadied by Jade's support. "I'll press charges," she said, voice barely a whisper, but firm as steel. "This stops now." Behind her, the chalkboards bore messy streaks of wet mop, evidence of Talia's cruelty. Mari caught her reflection in the darkened classroom glass. Defiance sparkled in her eyes. The world might see her as a janitor, but Mari knew her true worth, and already, the academy trembled on the brink of change. The following afternoon, the academy's grand foyer buzzed with excitement. Parents awaited an award ceremony. Crystal chandeliers reflected golden light onto polished marble. Mari, assigned to tidy between events, maneuvered her cart through the throng. Each step measured, she balanced courtesy with invisible resolve. Rico Vaughn appeared in the doorway, tall, composed, warm smile lighting his handsome features. He carried Mari's lost keychain, a small silver charm, raised high. "Is this yours?" he called over the chatter. Pride and relief flooded Mari as she hurried forward. "Yes, thank you so much," she said, voice bright. Their hands brushed. Mari expected a simple, "You're welcome," before he moved on. But Talia loomed behind, scowling. "Flirting with him?" she boomed, voice slicing the joyful hum. Heads turned. Mari froze, fingers tightening on the keychain. "I'm just taking back my property," she said, cheeks warming. Students whispered, parents murmured. Rico took a step back, brows furrowed. "I wasn't flirting," Mari added quickly, keeping her gaze steady on the keychain. Talia pushed forward, elbowing Mari's side. "Save it," she sneered. "Everyone sees you're after him." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Mari's heart hammered. She glanced at Rico. Concern flickered across his face. "Miss Santiago," he began. Talia cut him off, rocking onto her heels like a matador gloating over prey. "He's mine," she declared. "But I see he's got a thing for janitors now." Mari felt eyes on her, pity, curiosity, disapproval. She exhaled slowly, pressing the keychain's cold metal to her palm. "I work here," she said, voice rising so the parents could hear. "He was kind enough to return my lost item. That's all." She tucked the keychain into her pocket. The crowd fell into awkward silence. Rico straightened his jacket, stepping between them. "Talia, that's enough." He offered Mari a gentle nod, as if apologizing for Talia's theatrics. Mari's throat clenched, but she managed a small smile for him. "Thank you," she whispered. Then she turned and moved away, letting her uniform's hem brush velvet ropes and polished brass stanchions. Talia watched her go, crimson rage blooming across her cheeks. Mari spotted Jade near the refreshment table, giving a supportive thumbs up. Mari drew a steadying breath. She would not be shaken by rumor or ridicule. In that golden foyer, beneath the weight of crystal and expectation, Mari realized her quiet dignity was more powerful than any accusation. And somewhere in the hush, a promise took root. She would claim her rightful place. Rain pelted the academy's outer windows as twilight settled. Mari maneuvered her cart through the library's grand reading room, careful around marble busts and leather-bound volumes. The hush was sacred there, students immersed in study, librarians whispering. Mari's mop bristles rustled softly across mosaic floors. Talia stormed in, heels clicking like thunder. She spotted Mari near the fiction section and smirked. "Penny for your cleaning secrets?" she mocked, stepping closer. Mari froze. She knew what was coming but braced herself. "Miss Chun," she said politely, voice even. "Please don't." Talia shoved her. The force sent Mari into a tall bookshelf. A row of leather-spined classics teetered and crashed. Gasps echoed as books splintered on the floor. Mari grasped the shelf to steady herself, heart pounding, fingers trembling. She looked up at Talia's triumphant grin. "Stay out of my way," Talia hissed, "or you'll end up dusting more than floors." She turned and stalked away, flicking strands of hair over her shoulder. Mari's breath came in jagged bursts as students and librarians rushed forward to help. Jade's soul met from behind, lifting Mari's arm. "You okay?" Mari nodded, voice hollow. "Yes." She knelt and began gathering the fallen books, her uniform brushing dusty volumes. Each spine she touched felt like a scar. She stacked them carefully, though her hands shook. Librarians offered quiet comfort. "We'll handle it. Go sit down." Mari shook her head. "No, let me finish," she whispered. As she worked, the library's silence returned, but its sanctity was broken, like the trust Mari once had in her place at Crestwood. She recalled every scornful look Talia had cast, every insult disguised as jest. Her heart hardened. She pressed her lips together and rose, wiping tears she didn't feel. Jade placed a hand on her shoulder. "This isn't who you are," Jade said softly. "They can't break you." Mari straightened, brushing dust from her sleeves. The books were restacked, but a deeper shelf, her resolve, had shifted. The subtle push that had knocked her against those shelves also propelled something new within her, a determination to stand upright, no matter how hard the shove. The spring sun streamed through classroom 1 as tall windows as students filed out for lunch. Mari finished polishing desks, humming a familiar tune. She paused to admire the geometric patterns on the floor and the same patterns she had traced with her mop since her first day. It was her ritual, her meditation. Talia swept in, hair shining under overhead lights. She wore a new silk blouse, as if to signal a fresh opportunity for humiliation. "There she is," Talia called, loud enough for the empty classroom to echo back her words. She approached Mari, the crisp click of her designer flats punctuating each step. Mari straightened and offered a polite nod. Talia tilted her head, eyes narrowing. "I heard you've been cozying up to Rico Vaughn," she accused, voice syrupy with malice. Mari stiffened. "No," she replied quietly. "I haven't." Talia snorted. "He's been asking about you," she said. "He even saved you a seat at chapel yesterday." Mari's heart clenched. Rumors spread faster than fire. Talia reached out and slapped Mari so hard it echoed against the windows. The classless slap stunned Mari and sent her backward into a row of empty chairs. The sting bloomed on her cheek. Mari's hand flew to her face, palm slick with her own tears. She tasted salt and shock. Students peered in from the doorway, eyes wide. Jade burst in, mouth open in outrage. "Miss Chin," she cried. Talia smirked, stepping back. "She's a liar," Talia declared. "Don't be fooled by her pretty smile." She spun on her heel and departed, leaving Mari and Jade amid the stunned students. Mari sank to a chair, fingertips brushing the red imprint on her cheek. Every drop of dignity she'd nurtured felt threatened. But then she felt Jade's gentle hand clasp hers. "You don't deserve this," Jade whispered. Mari lifted her chin, voice low but firm. "No one does." She rose, brushed herself off, and turned toward the door. Students parted, giving her a clear path. As she left the classroom, Mari pressed a cool sigh through her lips. The world had crossed a line. So would she. In that charged silence, Mari resolved not merely to survive Talia's wrath, but to rise above it, revealing truths more powerful than any slap. Mari's heart pounded as she descended the narrow stairwell to the Academy archives. The climate-controlled room smelled of old paper and polished oak. Rows of filing cabinets stood like silent sentinels. Jade had found the rumor clutching at Mari's birth certificate, but Mari needed proof, hard evidence of her lineage. She carried a single lamp and her phone, whose flashlight she toggled carefully to avoid setting off any alarm. The archives lay beyond a heavy brass door. Mari pressed the button on her access badge, and the lock clicked open. Inside, the lamp's beam danced across shelves laden with dusty volumes, yearbooks, trustee minutes, legal filings. She stepped forward, heart thundering. Talia had mocked her for knowing nothing about the school. Now Mari would unearth the ultimate secret. Jade hovered at her elbow. "Look for anything under Santiago," she whispered. Mari nodded and approached a filing cabinet labeled Founders and Trustees. Her fingers trembled as she slid a drawer open. Files sorted alphabetically extended in neat rows. Adams, Baker, Chun, Claiborne, then Santiago. Mari drew out a brown envelope bound with a faded ribbon. Her name was scrawled across it in cursive, Maria Elena Santiago. Beneath that, in block letters, daughter of founder, William H. Santiago. She exchanged a glance with Jade, whose eyes were bright. Mari's breath caught. Her father, whom she never knew, had left this record buried for decades. She tore open the envelope. Inside was a certified copy of her birth certificate and a handwritten letter from William Santiago himself. "To my daughter," it began, "I entrust you with the legacy I built for our community." Mari's fingers shook. She read that her father, the Academy's founder, had died intestate and without publicly acknowledging her, his secret heir. The board had concealed her existence to avoid scandal. A sudden noise jolted Mari back. She snapped the letter shut and stuffed it into her bag. Jade stiffened. "Time to go." Mari hesitated. One more drawer beckoned. She pulled out another file, board meeting minutes dated 6 months before the Academy centennial. Her surname appeared again, under a motion to amend the trust. The motion had been tabled. Someone high up had suppressed her claim. Anger flared in Mari's chest. She heard footsteps on the stairs. Panic seized her. She relocked the cabinet, replacing the files exactly as she found them. Then she and Jade slipped out, heartbeats loud in their ears. As the brass door closed behind them, Mari held up the envelope. "This changes everything," she whispered. Jade smiled, fierce with pride. "Now we have proof." Mari's mind raced. She could confront the board, demand recognition, or gather allies among the staff and students. Talia's cruelty had driven Mari underground, but these hidden documents would bring her into the light. The archives had surrendered their secret, and in that quiet, dusty room, Mari's destiny surged forward. The Academy's future was hers to claim, and the halls that once echoed with her humiliation would soon resonate with her vindication. Mari sat in the staff lounge, the brown envelope resting on the table before her. Jade paced, phone pressed to her ear. Mari's breath caught as Jade covered her mouth, eyes widening. Moments later, the line was passed to Mari. "Miss Santiago." The voice was crisp, professional. "I'm Rebecca Fields, attorney at Delgado and Partners. I represent the estate of William H. Santiago." Mari steadied herself, voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," Rebecca continued. "Your father died without publicly acknowledging you, but recent discoveries compel us to rectify that oversight. You are the sole heir to his trust and have legal standing to claim ownership of the Academy's controlling shares." Mari's heartbeat thundered. Jade placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Could you repeat that?" Mari asked. Rebecca outlined the legal steps, submitting certified documentation, attending a preliminary hearing before the Academy's board, and securing an injunction to prevent any further concealment. The trust included real estate holdings, scholarship endowments, and voting rights on the board. Mari's mind raced. She thought of the janitor's closet where Talia once mocked her, the marble halls where she endured humiliation. Soon, she would walk those corridors not as a servant, but as the academy's rightful owner. She exhaled, adrenaline and relief mingling in her veins. "Miss Fields, thank you," Mari said. "I'll gather the documents immediately." The attorney confirmed a meeting time and hung up. Mari looked at Jade, eyes shining. "It's real," Mari whispered. "I'm heir." Jade grinned. "Time to rise." That evening, Mari and Jade convened in Mari's modest apartment above the cafeteria. The envelope lay open on the coffee table. Papers, copies of the birth certificate, and transcripts from the archives were spread out like evidence in a detective's case file. Mari felt overwhelmed and vulnerable. Jade sensed it and leaned forward. "Listen," Jade began, voice firm yet gentle. "Talia and the board had your identity to protect their own interests. They'll fight tooth and nail now that they know you exist. But you're not alone." She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. "You have the law on your side, and you have me." Mari swallowed. "I'm scared, Jade. I've always cleaned their messes. Now I'm confronting the people I scrubbed floors for." Jade shook her head. "That's why you'll win. You know every corner of this place better than anyone. You've seen its failures and its heart. You're the only one who can lead it with integrity." Mari's chest tingled with possibility. "What if they refuse to acknowledge me?" Jade smiled. "Then we'll rally support. Staff, students, parents. No one wants a corrupt board. You'll show them what true leadership looks like." She paused, eyes shining. "You're not just a janitor. You're your father's daughter. And you'll prove it." Mari exhaled, tension easing. Jade's confidence sparked her own. She picked up the birth certificate, tracing her name with a fingertip. "All right," she said. "Let's do this." Talia Chun paced in her family's luxury sedan outside the academy. News of Mari's legal claim had spread like wildfire. Talia's parents, major donors, feared scandal. Determined to protect her status, Talia gaslit her father into hiring private investigators to dig up dirt on Mari. She whispered rumors, bribed staff, and even staged a rumor mill among students. Mari was a fraud, an imposter born of ambition rather than blood. Mari walked the halls confidently that morning, greeted by nods and smiles. Talia intercepted her near the trophy case, phone in hand. "I have security footage of you sneaking into locked offices," Talia hissed. "You're violating privacy. I'm reporting you." Mari held her ground. "I have permission," she replied evenly. "I was invited to see documents pertaining to my father's legacy." Talia's eyes narrowed. She tapped her phone to record Mari's words. "We'll see what the board says," she spat. As Mari walked away, Talia sent a flurry of texts and emails, anonymous tips to the school newspaper, doctored screenshots of supposed conversations, false allegations of theft. By afternoon, whispers followed Mari through corridors. "Did you hear? Someone's accusing her of forging documents." Mari felt a familiar sting, but this time she refused to cower. She straightened her back, squared her shoulders, and pressed on toward the headmistress's office, determined to counterattack with proof and integrity. 2 days later, Mari arrived early to install a petition for board recognition outside the auditorium. She distributed copies to supportive staff and students. Suddenly, a hush fell as the academy security team flanked her. The headmistress emerged, flanked by lawyers. Mari's stomach churned. "We have disturbing new evidence," the headmistress announced. "Allegations have been raised about forged documents." She held up a tablet showing a video. Talia Chun, in a hidden corner of the archives, planting a manila envelope with Mari's name on it. The footage, captured by a discreet camera Mari had placed to document her findings, showed Talia's hand slipping the folder under wraps, labeled for later retrieval. Talia froze on screen, eyes wide. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Talia's lips parted, but no words came. Mari felt her pulse surge. The headmistress turned to Talia. "Explain this." Talia stammered, color draining from her cheeks. I was retrieving an old file for personal reasons." Her voice cracked. Mari stepped forward, calm clearing in her mind. "That folder. Mari said, voice carrying. Contained my birth certificate and my father's letters. I discovered them honest and lawfully. Miss Chen tried to relocate them to discredit me. She met Talia's gaze. This academy deserves truth and transparency. The headmistress nodded, solemn. Mari's proof stood undeniable. As murmurs swelled into cheers, Mari realized the tides had turned. The camera's silent witness had caught more than Talia's deceit. It had captured Mari's courage. And on that polished floor, beneath crystal chandeliers that once glinted with humiliation, Mari's rightful legacy began to shine. Rico Vaughn stood at the base of Crestwood Academy's grand marble staircase, the crystal chandeliers above casting prisms of light across the gathered faculty and students. For weeks, he had brushed aside rumors about Mari's heritage, believing Talia Chen's whispered accusations and carefully staged deceptions. He had exchanged polite nods with Mari in passing, never pausing to truly see the calm confidence in her dark brown eyes. But that morning, he had watched her in the boardroom, articulating her vision for scholarships and staff recognition with unwavering composure, even when Talia's attorneys tried to intimidate her. Each precise word she spoke resonated with honesty he had never witnessed among Crestwood's social elite. Now, as Mari descended the staircase with measured poise, her navy uniform immaculate, her spine straight, Rico felt a surge of conviction to set things right. He stepped forward, clearing his throat. Conversations hushed into a charged silence as all eyes turned toward him. Mari paused mid-stride, surprise flickering across her features. Rico met her gaze. "Miss Santiago," he began, voice steady, "I owe you an apology." His words cut through the tension like a blade. "I allowed myself to believe rumors rather than your evident character. I judged you by Talia's lies instead of by your leadership. Today, I see you clearly." A hush settled over the hall, punctuated only by the faint rustle of uniforms and the whisper of anticipation. Mari's heart pounded in her chest as she listened. A ripple of astonished whispers swept through the assembly. Faculty members exchanged shocked glances. Students leaned forward in their seats. Rico raised his hand so all could hear. "Effective immediately, I withdraw my endorsement of the current Student Council leadership and pledge to rally my peers behind Miss Santiago's initiatives. We need integrity and unity." A swell of applause rose first as polite claps, then crescendoed into cheers. Rico advanced and extended his hand toward Mari. She accepted it with a firm, grateful grip, her dark eyes shining with relief and resolve. In that moment, alliances shifted and hopes surged through Crestwood's corridors. High above, Talia Chen watched from the balcony, her face drained of color. The power she had wielded through fear and manipulation unraveled within seconds. Below her, the assembled crowd had united behind Mari and Rico's partnership, their collective support echoing against the marble. Talia's empire, built on gossip and cruelty, began to collapse. When the headmistress brought the meeting to order, the atmosphere still crackled with energy. Mari realized she no longer stood alone. With Rico's public apology and the clear backing of students and faculty, her path forward was brightened by genuine allies. As cheers subsided into murmurs of determination, Mari's heart swelled with gratitude and unwavering resolve to lead Crestwood Academy toward a future defined by justice, respect, and shared purpose. In the aftermath of Rico's bold declaration, the academy buzzed with new energy. Hallways that once echoed with rumors of Mari's supposed deceit now resonated with discussions about scholarship expansions and staff appreciation events. Yet Mari felt an undercurrent of tension. The board had scheduled an emergency session to decide her legal status and evaluate her proposals. As she prepared to enter the boardroom, Mari paused in front of her inherited office, the room where her father once held counsel. She took a deep breath, recalling his voice from a hidden letter she had yet to read. Inside the sleek boardroom, Talia's parents and the academy's senior trustees sat on one side, robes of authority draped over their shoulders like armor. Mari's legal counsel and Jade stood on the other. At the head of the table, the headmistress glared at Mari with forced neutrality. The chairman rapped his gavel. "Miss Santiago, your claim is undeniable, but your proposals involve significant budget realignments. We seek your choice. drop contentious initiatives to secure recognition, or press for full authority and risk corporate opposition. Mari's heart pounded. Her vision for community gardens, fair wages, and expanded scholarships could transform the lives of countless students and staff, but at the cost of alienating powerful donors. She glanced at Jade, whose steady nod encouraged her to stand firm. Mari reflected on every insult Talia had thrown, every humiliation she had endured. She remembered the promise to honor her father's legacy. Taking a breath, she rose. "I appreciate the board's willingness to acknowledge my heritage," she said, voice calm but resolute. "However, I cannot sacrifice the welfare of our students and staff for political expediency. My proposals will proceed as presented." A gasp rippled through the room. Trustees exchanged uneasy looks. Talia's mother shifted in her seat. The chairman's gavel hovered in midair. Mari pressed on. "If Crestwood Academy truly serves its community, then justice and compassion must guide our decisions. I seek not personal gain, but the promise of opportunity for every student." Her words hung heavy in the silence. Finally, the chairman exhaled. "So be it," he said, rapping the gavel. "By unanimous vote, we ratify your position as chairwoman of the board and approve your proposals. May you lead with wisdom." Relief and triumph surged through Mari's chest. She inclined her head respectfully, then met Talia's stunned gaze. Mari's choice had been made, and in standing for what was right, she had secured her authority and honored her father's dream. After the board meeting, Mari retreated to the archives with Jade. The ancient brass door closed behind them with a solemn click. Mari carried her late father's sealed letter, discovered weeks before but unopened until now. The envelope bore his hand-drawn crest, 2 interlocking keys over a rising sun. In the stillness, Mari's fingers trembled as she broke the wax seal. "Dear Mari," the letter began in flowing script. "By the time you read this, you will know the Academy as I knew it, full of hope, challenges, and dreams beyond measure. I write not to dictate your path, but to guide your heart. Remember that true leadership is born of service. Every life you uplift, every student you inspire, returns to shape our world. I regret the years I could not walk by your side, but know that every brick of Crestwood Academy stands as a testament to the faith I placed in our shared future. You are more than Janitor's daughter. You are the steward of a legacy. Lead with kindness, courage, and conviction." Tears blurred Mari's vision as she read his final words. "In adversity you will find strength. In unity you will find wisdom, and in service you will find your true purpose. My dearest Mari, carry this torch with pride." The letter ended with a simple flourish. "Father." Mari folded the letter carefully, pressing it to her chest. "He always believed in me," she whispered. Jade embraced her, offering quiet solace. In that dim archive room, among stacks of dusty ledgers and faded photographs, Mari felt the steady heartbeat of her father's spirit. The letter was more than guidance. It was affirmation of her worth and reminder of the service she had vowed to uphold. Armed with his words, Mari emerged from the archives with renewed determination. The Academy's future lay before her, a tapestry of hopes she would weave with compassion, justice, and the legacy of her father's dream. Rumors flew through Crestwood Academy when invitations appeared for Talia Chen's opulent 18th birthday gala in the main ballroom. Sparkling lights, velvet drapes, and a 4-tiered cake promised an evening of luxury and spectacle. Talia sent a personal invitation to Mari, an unexpected gesture that whispered 2 possibilities: reconciliation or another trap. Mari hesitated, but Jade reminded her that visibility could be power. She accepted. That Friday evening, the ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and fragrant blossoms. Students in couture and faculty in formal attire glided across marble floors. Talia, radiant in a sapphire gown, floated among her well-wishers, her every gesture met with admiration. Mari entered quietly, dressed in elegant but simple midnight blue, her presence understated yet resolute. Whispers followed her, a mixture of curiosity and respect. Moments before the unveiling of the cake, the headmistress called for attention. A special announcement from the chairwoman. Talia's smile froze. Mari approached the stage, the crowd parting. She held aloft an envelope bearing her father's crest. "Thank you for including me, Talia," Mari said, voice warm. "But tonight, I wish to honor Crestwood's true founders." She opened the envelope and extended the letter from her father to the headmistress. Tension crackled as the headmistress read the words of service and justice. "In recognition of his legacy," Mari continued, "I announce the establishment of the Santiago Scholarship Fund, to be endowed from my inheritance and funded by tonight's proceeds." Guests gasped as Mari snapped her fingers. Nathaniel Chun, Talia's father and major donor, felt a tug at his conscience. Security staff wheeled in a second cake, identical in design but inscribed to the future of Crestwood Academy. Talia's face paled. The crowd cheered Mari's announcement, raising glasses to her vision. Talia stammered, But this is my night." The headmistress stepped forward. "Tonight, we celebrate unity, not class divisions." "Thank you, Chairwoman Santiago." As the Academy family lifted Mari on their shoulders, Talia's birthday gala transformed into Mari's moment of triumph. The following morning, Crestwood's halls buzzed with a single revelation. "You're her daughter?" Students clustered in doorways, repeating the news. Even senior faculty paused in corridors to congratulate Mari. Talia Chun, once the undisputed queen of these halls, now found herself edged aside by whispers of Mari's courage and compassion. In the staff break room, Jade lit a round of applause for Mari as she arrived to collect coffee. "You did it," Jade said, beaming. "Everyone knows who you are now, no more secrets." Mari smiled, feeling the warmth of genuine support. She pinned her father's crest to her lapel as a subtle sign of her stewardship. Outside the library, students formed a spontaneous procession, escorting Mari through arches of cheers. Freshmen held banners proclaiming, "Long live the Santiago legacy," while upperclassmen carried boxes of donated textbooks for the new scholarship fund. Each step Mari took echoed with the promise of a transformed academy. Down the hall, Talia lingered by her locker, craving attention but meeting only cold stares. She watched Mari pass, surrounded by admirers. A single student approached Talia and said, "Your discipline is noted, Talia, but we stand with our chairwoman." Talia's smirk faltered as the student walked away. Mari paused at the window overlooking the quad, breathing in the crisp morning air. She felt the weight of her father's legacy settle on her shoulders, not as a burden, but as a guiding beacon. Students waved and called her name. Mari raised a hand in acknowledgement, her heart swelling with humility and purpose. She turned back to the corridor, where a portrait of William Santiago hung, eyes kind and proud. Mari whispered, "I won't let you down." The academy thrummed with new energy, loyalty born not of privilege, but of shared belief in justice, service, and the daughter who had reclaimed her father's dream. Mari Santiago paused before the tall mahogany doors of the boardroom, her chest tight with anticipation. As the daughter of Crestwood Academy's late founder, she carried both privilege and the sting of decades-long concealment. Tonight, she would claim her father's legacy not with protest, but with purpose. The steel of her tailored navy suit felt like armor as she inhaled slowly and pushed the doors open. Inside, the room glowed under crystal chandeliers. Trustees in embroidered robes and faculty in formal attire turned toward her in respectful silence. At the head of the gleaming conference table lay a holographic console, her presentation tool. Mari approached, fingertips brushing the wood grain, and activated the display. In crisp white letters appeared 3 pillars: scholarships, staff welfare, community service. "Thank you all for coming," Mari began, voice clear and steady. "My father founded Crestwood Academy to uplift every student and staff member. Today, we honor that vision." With a tap, the hologram shifted to reveal the Santiago Scholarship Fund, seated by her personal inheritance, ensuring tuition support for staff children. Another tap introduced the Living Wage Initiative, redirecting 10% of annual donations to guarantee living wages and housing assistance for custodial, kitchen, and maintenance teams. Finally, she outlined a community engagement program, partnering with local nonprofits for service learning credits and the student staff community garden. As she spoke, Mari recalled her earliest days here, scrubbing corridors before dawn, silent beneath the founder's portrait. Now her words resonated through these halls. She cited data on staff retention, testimonial videos of custodial staff who struggled with rent, and projections showing increased enrollment when families felt included. A hush fell as she fielded a question from Trustee Hawthorne about sustainability. Mari clicked her remote. A detailed budget chart appeared. Seed funding comes from the Outreach Endowment, she explained. Volunteer hours, students, staff, parents will cover operating costs. An annual spring harvest festival will raise additional funds. Nods rippled around the table. Faculty representatives leaned forward, animated. Professor Lin whispered to her neighbor. She anticipated every concern. Legal counsel complimented her clarity. When the chairman called the vote, Mari's pulse raced. Hands rose, one after another, until every trustee had endorsed her proposals. The gavel struck. Chairwoman Santiago's initiatives are approved, the chairman pronounced. Applause erupted, warm, genuine, unforced. Jade stepped through the doors as the crowd dissipated, eyes shining. You did it, she breathed, pulling Mari into a hug. You've changed everything. Mari smiled, touching the silver crest pinned to her lapel, the same crest her father designed. She announced her next steps. An open-door forum for staff on Monday, monthly town halls for student feedback, and weekly check-ins with department heads. As she left the boardroom, sunlight flooded the corridor. The polished marble beneath her feet, once a reminder of her hidden status, now reflected a future she would build. Mari straightened her shoulders, heart light with possibility. From janitor to chairwoman, she honored her father's dream and forged a path of compassion, equity, and unity for Crestwood Academy. Word of the new initiative spread through Crestwood like wildfire. Staff whispered excitedly in break rooms. Students discussed scholarships in the quad. But Talia seethed behind closed doors. Unable to undermine Mari's proposals, she turned her fury toward the student council, determined to assert her dominance one last time. Mari arrived at the student council assembly in the auditorium, a tradition where students and staff gathered monthly. The stage was set with a row of chairs for student leaders. Talia, seated among them, offered Mari a tight smile that hid simmering anger. The headmistress called the meeting to order and invited Mari to review the month's highlights. Dressed in her navy suit, Mari stepped forward, greeted by quiet applause. She summarized the early success of the scholarship fund and announced the first community garden planting. Enthusiasm rippled through the crowd. When Mari invited student liaison Marcus to speak, Talia sprang up. "Before we proceed," she declared, voice loud, "I move that we remove Mari Santiago from today's agenda. She's not truly one of us." Gasps echoed. Marcus rose to object. "Talia, she's chairwoman of the board now." Talia sneered. "Boardroom glory isn't the same as student leadership." Murmurs of dissent rose among students who admired Mari's vision. The headmistress intervened. "We will hear Talia's motion," she said. Council members turned toward Talia. She produced a hastily assembled petition, forged signatures included, demanding Mari's removal from the assembly's speaking roster. The headmistress tapped her gavel. "All in favor?" A hesitant few raised their hands. Mari supporters, both students and staff, stood, their numbers overwhelming. The headmistress surveyed the room, then announced, "By majority, this motion fails." Talia's face flushed. "I move to censure Talia-chan for reckless behavior," Mari said quietly, voice carrying. Shocked silence followed. The headmistress blinked. Another trustee, present for oversight, nodded approval. Council members whispered as Mari read aloud evidence of Talia's prior sabotage, the planted scandal, forged documents, and public slaps. When she finished, she called for a vote. Hands shot up, unanimous in favor of censure. The headmistress pronounced Talia removed from her council leadership role effective immediately. Talia stood, pale and trembling, as fellow students stood and turned their backs. She stumbled off the stage, hair askew, dignity in tatters. Mari stepped down and helped Jade guide Talia to an exit, ensuring no one harmed her. In front of the entire assembly, Talia tasted the humiliation she once inflicted. As the meeting closed with applause for Mari, students rushed forward to congratulate her. Marian's heart pounded, not with triumph, but sorrow, for the misguided girl who had become her adversary. Yet her resolve held firm. Leadership demanded fairness, even when it cost friendship. Crestwood Academy would heal through accountability, and Mari would lead that healing with integrity. Spring rain dotted the tall windows of the faculty lounge. Mari sat at a small oak table, reviewing letters from scholarship recipients. The world outside shimmered with new green growth, a fitting symbol for the Academy's renaissance. A soft knock preceded Rico Vaughn's entrance. He hesitated, eyes downcast. "Mari," he began, voice gentle. She looked up, surprised by the humility in his tone. He sat across from her, offering a tentative smile. "I wanted to apologize." Mari's chest tightened. He ran a hand through his damp hair. "I was blind, prejudiced by rumors, by class distinctions. I dismissed your kindness and strength because I listened to Talia's lies. When you stepped into that boardroom, you taught me a lesson I should have learned long ago. True leadership comes from service and integrity." Mari studied his earnest face, noting the sincerity in his dark eyes. "Thank you, Rico," she said softly. "Your apology means a lot." He exhaled, relief and regret mingling in his expression. "I let my reputation and my social circle dictate my judgments. I see now how wrong I was. I hope you can forgive me." Silence settled, broken only by the rain's patter. Mari remembered the moment he had first handed back her lost keychain. Kindness offered without expectation. She realized he had courage to admit his mistakes. She offered him a small smile. "I forgive you." Relief brightened his features. "I would like to help at the community garden this weekend," he said earnestly. "And if you ever need support, logistical, volunteer, anything, please call on me." Mari nodded. "I'd like that." They shook hands, a gesture sealing both apology and new partnership. As Rico left, Mari returned to her letters, heart lighter. Forgiveness, she reflected, could cultivate growth as powerfully as any scholarship. Crestwood's future would be built not on exclusion, but on reconciliation, and together, they would nurture that future, one seed at a time. Word of Rico's apology spread faster than spring flowers. Students whispered in hallways. "Rico and Chairwoman Santiago?" Cafeterias hummed with speculation about a possible romance. Mari found herself at a crossroads. She valued his friendship, appreciated his support, but she refused to be anyone's consolation prize. That afternoon, Rico found her in the archives office, shelving letters from alumni. He leaned against the doorway, arms folded. "You haven't returned my call about lunch," he teased gently. Mari closed the ledger she was indexing. "I've been busy. The staff forum is tomorrow, and I'm finalizing the fundraising plan." She offered him a polite smile. Rico stepped inside, brows knitting. "I wanted to ask, would you go to dinner this Friday? Just the two of us." Mari's heart fluttered at the invitation, but her resolve was stronger. She placed the ledger down. "Rico, I value you as a friend and ally," she said firmly. "But I'm not interested in dating right now. I need to focus on the academy and on finding myself within this new role." He winced, disappointment flickering across his face. "I understand," he whispered. Mari softened. "I appreciate your respect. I'm honored by your feelings, but I need time to grow into this chairwoman role." She placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Please don't be discouraged. I hope we can continue to work together. On the garden, the scholarships, everything." Rico managed a small smile, nodding. "Of course. I'll be here as your friend." He hesitated, then added, "You're a remarkable leader, Mari. Any woman would be lucky to have you." Mari smiled, warmth flooding her chest. "Thank you, Rico." As he departed, Mari felt a deeper confidence. She could choose her own path, unbound by expectation or convention. Her focus remained steadfast, to lead Crestwood with integrity and compassion. In saying no to romance, she said yes to her calling, one she would honor with unwavering devotion. Jealousy simmered in Talia Chen's heart like a poison. After her public censure and removal from council, she had retreated into isolation, plotting one final act of vengeance. Late one night, She leaked a fabricated scandal to the student newspaper. Allegations that Mari misallocated scholarship funds for personal gain. The headline ran in the morning edition. Chairwoman under investigation. Did Mari Santiago betray our trust? Students gasped in the quad. Staff exchanged worried glances. Mari first heard of the scandal when Jade burst into her office, clutching the paper. Mari, this is nonsense. Jade exclaimed. Mari felt betrayal twist in her chest. She held the crumpled front page, scanning the claims, forged signatures, missing millions, nepotism. Her initiatives had been transparent. She had published budgets and audit reports weeks ago. Yet the headline's bold font conveyed urgency and betrayal. Steeling herself, Mari called an emergency press conference in the courtyard. Rumors swirled as townspeople and parents gathered with phones poised. Talia, watching from a balcony above, allowed herself a cruel smile, until Mari stepped forward to the podium, calm and resolute. Thank you for coming, Mari began. She held up the published budgets and unredacted bank statements. Transparency is the foundation of integrity. Here are the official records, audited by 2 independent firms. She handed printed copies to reporters and displayed real-time figures on a projector. Every dollar accounted for, every scholarship distributed. These allegations are baseless attempts to derail our progress. As cameras clicked, Mari spoke with unwavering conviction. I invite any investigator to verify these records. I welcome scrutiny, because my work is honest. We will not tolerate falsehoods aimed at undermining our community. Her voice rang with authority. The crowd murmured in approval. Parents and students nodded. On the balcony, Talia's triumphant smile faltered. Students below shouted support for Mari. Reporters demanded interviews. Talia's last blow had rebounded on her own head, exposing her desperation. She watched, pale and trembling, as a rumor evaporated beneath Mari's steadfast truth. When the conference ended, Jade joined Mari, pride shining. You handled that brilliantly, she said. Mari exhaled, relief mingling with resolve. Truth is stronger than rumor, she replied. Together, they walked back toward the academy, leaving Talia alone in the shadow of a crumbling empire built on lies. Crestwood Academy emerged stronger than ever, guided by a leader whose integrity could not be shaken and whose compassion would light the way. The morning mist clung to the manicured hedges around Crestwood Academy's grand quad as Mari Santiago emerged onto the dew-laced pavement. Rumors of a fabricated scholarship scandal had rippled through the hidden depths of the campus. Basement workshops, steamy kitchens, cavernous maintenance garages, but instead of fear, a different energy resonated: determination. Custodial staff in navy polos, kitchen teams in checkered aprons, and maintenance crews in reflective vests assembled with hand-painted signs bobbing among them. Truth, not lies. Chairwoman Santiago has our trust. And from mop to boardroom, we stand with Mari. Mari paused at the edge of the gathering, heart thrumming as this chorus of solidarity rose beneath the early sun. Leading the rally was Jose Alvarez, the head groundskeeper, whose hearty laugh once echoed across the lawn during autumn cleanups. His weathered hands gripped a placard with bold strokes. We have served this academy alongside Mari, he declared, voice resonant, echoing off the marble columns. We have witnessed her integrity, her compassion, and her tireless work ethic. Today, we proclaim we will not retreat in the face of deceit. We stand united for honesty, for fairness, for the legacy she nurtures. Cheers thundered, the academy's facade reflecting their unity like a mirror. Mari's cheeks warmed as she inhaled the scent of freshly cut grass, proof that the academy belonged to all who cared for it. Across the quad, kitchen staff clustered around mobile catering tables, wiping grease-smudged hands on aprons. They recalled Mari delivering forgotten rags at dawn, smoothing floors so they could cook safely. The library clerks, ghosts among dusty tomes, lent supportive nods, recalling her quiet aid when rearranging chairs for evening study sessions. Even the security officers, silent sentinels of the night, crossed their arms in solidarity, badges catching the copper light. From the archway, maintenance teams unfurled a massive banner reading, "Unity sweeps all." stitching together the threads of every department into a single tapestry of support. Students began to trickle in, drawn by curiosity and loyalty. Freshmen carrying thermoses and worn backpacks joined the chorus, chanting Mari's name. Upperclassmen, once suspicious of a rise, held handmade banners showing a broom crossed with a trustee's gavel. Faculty members slipped through the crowd to lend their voices, Professor Lin of the science department raising her voice above the rising tide. Leadership is not inherited, it is earned. Mari has earned ours. Each declaration widened the circle, binding individuals across roles into an unbreakable front. At the center of the quad, Mari stepped onto a raised planter bed, her uniform immaculate, despite the damp grass. In her hand she held a magnolia blossom, a symbol of the Academy's storied past. Silence fell as she raised the flower. "Thank you," she began, voice unwavering. "Each of you has shown that our strength lies in community, not hierarchy. You have taught me that leadership is service, and that together we can sweep away injustice." Petals drifted down, landing on polished badges and work boots alike, a silent benediction. When she finished, Jose's resounding cheer broke the hush. Staff members dropped their placards at Mari's feet, not in defeat, but as an offering of trust. Cameras from the Academy's news feed began to capture every gesture. Tweets flickered to life. #StaffStandWithMari. #LegacyOfService. Across screens, parents and alumni watched tears of pride glisten on faces that once labored in unseen corners. In calling this rally, Mari had rekindled the collective heartbeat of Crestwood Academy, and together they would build its future. By midday, Crestwood's digital news tickers bore Mari's smiling portrait beneath bold headlines. Janitor's daughter triumphs. Mari Santiago's vision shines. The Crestwood Chronicle's online edition led with a front-page feature quoting staff rallying behind her, while the Gazette's website streamed clips from the staff-organized quad demonstration and boardroom approval. Social media ignited. #LegacyOfService and #TruthSweepsAll trended regionally, drawing praise from alumni, parents, and local businesses. Mari awakened to a flood of supportive messages, thank you notes from scholarship recipients, nostalgic memories from former students, and even cautious congratulations from former skeptics. What had begun as a smear campaign had rebounded into a powerful media wave, celebrating her integrity. That afternoon, a sleek black SUV rolled onto the circular drive. A camera crew and poised reporter, badges flashing, stepped onto the gravel. "Chairwoman Santiago, may we film your tour?" the reporter asked, voice warm and professional. Mari guided them beneath the crystal archways of the main entrance, narrating the story of the newly planted community garden where students and staff tended seedlings, side by side. She described the scholarship fund's first recipients, first-generation scholars poised to transform their families' futures, and outlined plans for the Living Wage Initiative, ensuring fair pay and housing support for every staff member. Each candid answer underscored her commitment to transparency. That evening, the segment aired in prime time, Mari speaking passionately about unity and service, intercut with footage of cheering staff and trustees. Across the city, viewers tweeted, "What a role model! She reminds us why we invest in education. Privilege pales next to integrity." The Chronicle's editorial proclaimed Mari the face of transformative leadership, forecasting her influence would extend far beyond Crestwood's marble halls. Meanwhile, Talia Chun huddled in her family's elegant study, scrolling through damning headlines, detailed financial breakdowns, video clips of her own sabotage, and heartfelt testimonials from those Mari empowered. Every new post cut deeper, torching the last embers of her reputation. In desperation, Talia's parents leaked private emails framing Mari as opportunistic, only to have the full chain expose Talia's threats and deceptions. The pivot was swift. New headlines decried privilege panics. Elite teens' lies unravel. As dusk settled, Mari reviewed analytics on her phone, a mosaic of gratitude and excitement. She drafted a public statement thanking the community, inviting alumni to join an advisory council, and pledging weekly updates on the fund's progress. In a final tweet she wrote, "Together, we sweep away falsehood and cultivate hope. Our academy's future glows brighter with every hand that plants a seed. Thousands of likes and shares confirmed it. The media storm had transformed into a beacon of hope, proof that truth, once set free, can ignite change far beyond a single campus. Sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows of the newly renovated staff lounge as Mari Santiago cut a ceremonial ribbon with a gleaming blade. Where the room had once housed aging furniture and dim lighting, now glowed comfortable sofas, polished mahogany tables, and a kitchenette stocked with fresh coffee and snacks. The walls bore plaques honoring each department: custodial, kitchen, grounds, maintenance, and security. Staff members lined up to offer Mari grateful embraces, their smiles radiant. For Mari, this ceremony crystallized her belief that true leadership is measured not by titles, but by tangible impact. In the boardroom that afternoon, Mari presented the project's first quarterly report. The data astounded the trustees. Staff turnover down 30%, absenteeism halved, student satisfaction scores up 25%. She detailed the living wage initiative's success: kitchen staff celebrating the ability to afford medical care, groundskeepers relieving commuting burdens thanks to housing subsidies, and maintenance crews applauding the new mental health support. Each statistic underscored the real power of compassionate governance. The trustees leaned forward, impressed not by power, but by purpose. Next came the community garden's Harvest Festival. Students, staff, and local families gathered among raised beds bursting with tomatoes, peppers, and greens. Mari, still wearing her signature navy blazer and weather-worn boots, moved through the crowd, praising a shy freshman who nurtured a row of basil sprouts and commending the head cook, who transformed the harvest into weekday specials in the cafeteria. Laughter rang out around picnic tables as workshop participants shared recipes and stories. The garden, once a holographic proposal, had become a living testament to unity across roles and generations. Evenings brought interactive town hall forums in the auditorium, where Mari fielded questions from every corner of the academy. A mother of two asked about merit-based scholarship expansions. A security officer inquired about updated equipment. A literature professor suggested guest lecture series with alumni entrepreneurs. Mari listened intently, scribbling notes in a leather-bound journal. When the floor opened to discussion, she stood beside questioners rather than above them, an embodiment of shared leadership. Each conversation fueled her vision, shaping future policies with practical insight. In quiet moments, Mari traversed corridors she once cleaned, running her fingers along glossy sills and polished handrails. She recalled the broom's bristles, whispering past chipped paint and scuffed tiles. Now, as chairwoman, she marveled at the gleaming surfaces beneath her palm and the renewed sense of belonging that infused every corner. Letters from scholarship recipients adorned her desk, heartfelt thanks for life-changing opportunities. The staff lounge still smelled of fresh leather. The garden's first weeds had been plucked. As twilight fell, Mari drafted the next phase: mentorship programs pairing staff with students, an annual legacy lecture series, and a donor campaign to grow the scholarship fund. She sent a brief note to the board. Our results prove that empowered communities shape their destiny. Then she closed her laptop, stepping out into the campus night. In the hush, she felt the true power not in authority, but in the ripple of positive change carried by countless hands working in concert. Late one afternoon, after the final lecture had ended, Talia Chen found herself alone in the silent maze of Crestwood Academy's corridors. The hush of emptied classrooms echoed around her, magnifying the emptiness she felt within. Designer heels clicked sharply against the polished floors, each stiletto struck a reminder of her fallen status. Once the Academy's queen bee, she now trailed whispers and sideways glances. The extravagant birthday gown lay crumpled behind her locker, her place on the student council vacant, her parents' faces etched with disappointment. Drawn by a pull she didn't understand, Talia made her way to the janitor's closet, the very room where she had once pushed Mari and sneered at her humility. The paint-chipped door stood slightly ajar, revealing mops leaning against dusty shelves and buckets stacked unevenly. With trembling hands, Talia pushed it open and sank to the cool concrete floor, back against soiled mop heads. The stale scent of disinfectant assaulted her senses. For the first time, She felt the weight of insignificance. The accolades and privileges she once claimed had crumbled to dust. She bowed her head and let tears spill, the sound muffled by the bristles that had once symbolized her contempt. A soft creak interrupted her despair. Jade, ever steadfast, knelt at the doorway. "Talia," she whispered, voice gentle yet direct. Talia looked up, eyes red. "Why are you here?" she choked out. Jade offered a dust-streaked rag and extended her hand. "You lost your way," Jade began. "But this academy belongs to all of us. No one deserves to break without someone offering a hand." Talia's confusion and shame warred on her face. I don't know who I am without the facade," she admitted. Jade nodded. "Then start here." They sat together among the cleaning supplies, the corridor lights dimming overhead. Jade spoke of accountability, empathy, and the strength in admitting fault. Talia listened between sobs, absorbing each word like a lifeline. Moments later, she rose unsteadily and helped Jade snap a mop handle into place. Side by side, they swept and tidied the closet floor, two women bound by their mistakes and a shared moment of grace. In that cramped, overlooked space, Talia encountered the first flicker of redemption. Her breakdown, brutal though it was, became the crucible for a new beginning, one forged by honesty, humility, and the courage to change. Summer's golden light bathed the sprawling colonial mansion on Crestwood's edge, the historic residence built by William H. Santiago. As the Academy's chairwoman, Mari Santiago received official housing there, a symbol of her elevated station. The grand foyer boasted marble columns and crystal chandeliers. Portraits of former trustees lined the walls. Yet as she crossed the threshold, her heart tugged toward the familiar aroma of polished floors rather than inherited opulence. Setting aside her suitcase, Mari approached a wooden barrel tucked beside the sweeping staircase. Inside, the leftover cleaning supplies for the household staff. With a wry smile, she lifted her tailored blazer to reveal her navy polo, rolled up her sleeves, and retrieved her battered broom. Although the mansion staff offered to take it, Mari carried it proudly, sweeping away the faint layer of dust on the marble landing. Each stroke reminded her of the countless corridors she had cleansed long before claiming this corner of her father's legacy. That evening, Mari hosted a dinner for the very staff who had rallied to her side: custodians, kitchen teams, groundskeepers, librarians, and maintenance crews. The long oak table gleamed under candelabras as laughter and conversation filled the expansive dining hall. Mari stood at its head, raising a crystal glass. "Thank you," she said, voice ringing. "Your faith in me has made every step possible. Tonight, we celebrate not my new home, but our shared accomplishments." She paused, eyes soft with gratitude. "May this mansion be a place where every voice is heard, every effort valued." Glasses chimed, smiles radiated warmth. Later, Mari retreated to her study, a cozy alcove lined with tall bookshelves and her father's heirloom desk. She opened his final letter once more, pressing the wax seal to her heart. "Lead with kindness, courage, and conviction." The words glowed with purpose. Mari placed the letter alongside her leather-bound journal and penned a final entry. "Titles may change, but my calling remains service, humility, and justice. From mop to mansion, my journey is shaped by every hand that reached out. Tomorrow, we plant the garden's second season. Next week, we launch the mentorship program. Together, we sweep away injustice and grow hope." As midnight approached, Mari quietly tiptoed into the foyer one last time. She returned the broom to its barrel, cleaning and upright like a sentinel guarding her responsibilities. Flicking off the chandelier lights, she slipped through the corridors she once polished at dawn's first light. Beneath the moonlit arches, the mansion's polished floors gleamed in silent tribute to her journey. In that hushed moment, Mari felt her father's legacy pulse through every tile, proof that true leadership blossoms when even the highest titles remain grounded in humility and service. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please like, comment, and share. Also turn on the bell to get more of our videos. See you in the next story.